Well, hello, Makai. Welcome back. It is so nice to see you again.
You
How
too.
how are you?
I'm doing okay.
All
I'm
right.
doing all right.
Okay. All right. Yeah. I mean, just tell me about how things have gone for you over the last few days since we connected last time.
Yeah, so I was doing some thinking about, you know, that flavor piece, how to make some of those values that I grew up in and, carried over my own. And I was thinking that one of the possibilities for me is to, in terms of like comparison, and I don't know how this might work, but to possibly take my parents completely out of the picture
Hmm.
as the ideal.
Hmm.
Because I mean, I was thinking, when it comes down to it, everybody's flawed, and
Hmm.
I saw the things maybe that I wanted to see, and
Okay.
maybe some of the other things that I wasn't privy to doesn't mean they didn't exist.
Okay.
I don't know. I've been a little pessimistic in trying to get away from it, but that's where I started this week with, from our last conversation.
Okay. All right. One of the things that you had talked about last time was, um, just feeling like, being unsure about pursuing, um, pursuing the ministry that you want to. That now, with the experience that you've gotten to this point,
Mhm.
what are some what do you think are some of your strengths that you bring to the table in terms of a ministry setting?
That's a good question. I think as a person that I'm very empathetic,
Okay.
and I've only recently been being have begun to understand the difference between empathy and sympathy.
Hmm.
And I thought empathy just meant empathy. You sympathize with people, but empathy is kind of like a more mutual understanding and respect and regard for wherever people find themselves, and including, of course, myself. So I would think that's a strength for me right now is understanding the difference between the two. Um, Also, I'm very driven to see this stuff through, even though I'm so unsure right now about like what that looks like or where I'm going. But for the first time in my life, I actually don't want to give up. So yeah, that's been eye opening. I would consider that a strength is in being more determined than I've ever been in my life to see this process out.
Okay. All right. So you mentioned words like empathy, being empathetic. You talked about being driven.
Mhm.
Let me ask you this. Um, Imagine for a moment that you could create a dream ministry, like a ministry that um, would bring those and other strengths that you have, a ministry where you would not feel like you are trying to achieve something that somebody else, in this case your parents, have, um, that type of level. But yeah, like imagine, you go to sleep tonight, and when you wake up tomorrow morning, yeah, you're just kind of given this blueprint to draw out, you know, this would be the ministry that I would want to do. What would it look like?
Mhm. Mm, that's a good one. um, I think I don't know. I think that I would find myself being a real, not so much like a have a platform or anything like that, but being that person that people, particularly in the church, can go to talk through some problems they're having in their family dynamic.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, I'm really kind of drawn to broken people,
Hmm.
and not so much to like fix them, because I mean I don't think everything is able to be fixed sometimes, but
Mhm.
to help them see God's perspective, maybe, and bring some healing. I'm particularly drawn to LGBTQ populations,
Hmm.
because I think that's a group of people that have been hurt by the church the most
Yes.
sometimes.
Yes.
And if I can be some kind of mediary in these conversations that happen in families where these populations are just so misunderstood. I can see myself taking on that kind of role or responsibility. Yeah.
Okay. And in this kind of dream scenario type of ministry, um, where do you see it taking place? What sort of setting do you see it? Do you see it as an extension of a church's ministry or some sort of parachurch ministry? Is it something that you are working in conjunction with other people? Give me a little bit more in terms
Mm,
of what scenario do you see?
that's a good one. I've been thinking about this, and I've been wondering if I was wrong to feel this way, because some of my fellow students are, pursuing this track to get licensed, and at this point, I don't feel like I'm going to wind up with a license.
Hmm.
Um, I just don't see that in the card. So in terms of environment, I can't see this. I can't see myself as a clinic. Um, I can't see myself in this office setting where you schedule through the secretary, make appointments, and that things of that nature. I see myself maybe as a consultant of some
Hmm.
kind. So maybe that means, to your example, maybe that means I'm connected to maybe a nonprofit
Okay.
or some kind of organization that has on call mentors or counselors or whatever they might be called,
Okay.
in that regard. But these people, they're more so experienced based on the people that they work with, and not so much licensed.
Okay.
And I don't know if that exists or not, but yeah, that I think that's where I see the connection, me being connected to something. It would be that, or church for that matter, if
Okay.
I could have a role that was an outgrowth of a church. Yeah.
Okay. Do you think it would be, um, could there be a scenario, even just with where you're at right now, with what you're doing right now, where you could begin to start to make some inroads, where you could begin to pursue that kind of ministry?
Mm, I don't know. I
Hmm.
don't know. Like, what can I possibly do? And it goes back to me feeling like I just don't measure up.
Hmm.
um, Let me sit with that question for a second.
Okay.
What could I do now? I think I've taken the first step so far, which was to get back in school
Okay.
and outside, kind of go outside of myself and my natural ability to be there for my friends and stuff, but to actually get some training and understanding about counseling. And, I'll see how far my education takes me. I
Okay.
guess that's a first starting point. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So then, if we were to put the just taking what you said, if we were to put it on a scale, just in terms of, between, no, I'm just not ready to make, or to take any steps at this point. If we were to put that as a number one, to, yeah, I'm ready to, start knocking on some doors tomorrow and start to, network and all this thing. If we were to put that at a 10, where are you in that scale, just in terms of, being confident about starting to move in the direction where you want to go?
Probably very low, maybe 3.
Okay.
Right now. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not there yet.
Okay. All right. And as we have opportunity to speak more down the road, perhaps that could be a goal, is to see, okay, so how can we move from the rating that you've given yourself now? How can we move up a notch or a couple of notches and start to move in that direction? What are some practical steps that can be taken? I feel like with one that you've already mentioned, like just returning to school and being in an environment where you're starting to get some training and some experience, and that's an excellent thing. And for now, perhaps that is your ministry. Is that training? I think of the disciples as Jesus called those disciples. Yeah, they did some incredible things that we read about in the Gospels, but it all didn't happen day one. And there would have needed to be some seasoning. There would have needed to be some training of some sort. And obviously it's different than what you're doing now. But yeah, perhaps maybe we can look at, okay, so what are some things that we can start to look forward to, and maybe start to see some doors open, and maybe start to see some confidence being built. How does that sound to you?
Yeah, that sounds great. I'm willing to put in the work to get what I hope I hope is going to be operating how God would have me to be in the capacity He wants me in. So yeah, that sounds like where I want to be, man.
Okay, all right. Well, I'll tell you what, Makai, as we wrap up our time now, I will send you just a note, just to kind of reiterate some things that we've talked about, and I want you to feel free to interact with that and send me a response as well. And then I will also send you an invite on my calendar, and please feel free to put in an appointment slot at your convenience, and we'll plan to meet again very soon.
Okay.
All right.
Sounds good.
A wonderful, Makai. Always a pleasure to speak with you, and I'll look forward to our time again.
Likewise. Thank you.
You're most welcome. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.